So, as you may recall, I did a video on Dead by Daylight a little while back now, and although it's not exactly a game I make a lot of content on, I do play quite a lot of this game in my downtime. Its developers, Behavior, have added a lot to the game since my last video. Another Resident Evil chapter, in which they added Wesker, my beloved, to the game. We finally got Chucky from Child's Play in the game, which was wild, as we'd all kind of thought there was no way we'd get a killer that was, well, I mean, literally as small as Victor. We got the Xenomorph from Alien. We got Nicolas Cage as Nicolas Cage. No, he's not a killer, but, you know, now that I say that out loud, I kind of wish he was. We even got Vecna, the D&D Lich, not the antagonist from Stranger Things, though give them time. The list of fantastic new characters showing up in the fog is honestly kind of insane. The latest additions being Dracula from Castlevania, and Lara Croft, which, I mean, okay, she's not from a horror game per se, but remember that 2001 Tomb Raider movie? I mean, that was scary, right? Bullets and CGI? Honestly, I can't remember anything outside of that one Basement Jack song. Dead by Daylight really has become the who's who of horror, and I feel like once the FNAF chapter drops in 2025, it's gonna be kinda hard to think of any other horror icons that are still needing their Super Smash Bros. Style invitations. With the exception of Jason, of course. Assuming the poor bastard can ever make it off that last asymmetrical horror sinking ship he was a part of. No, Jason, come back. Jason, I'm just trying to be witty. I love that game. But what actually enticed me back into making another video on this game wasn't any of its huge licensing crossovers or the time I've sunk into the game, but actually this fantastic new game mode Behavior introduced recently. A mode that fans have been begging for years now. 2v8. That's right, 2 killers, a small bus worth of survivors, all dropped into a map and allowed to run wild. And seriously, this game mode has been so much fun. I've scarcely played any other game mode since it's dropped. I would highly recommend that you... Huh? What, it's finished? Like it's done? You're telling me it actually wrapped up like 2 weeks ago? Yeah, 2 weeks ago. Like on August 15th? Oh, shit! Well, it looks like I'm a little late to the party to gush about this fantastic game mode we had in Dead by Daylight. But I think there's still a lot to be said about it. Normally when I play Dead by Daylight, I'd say about 90 to 95% of the time, I'm solo queuing. On the rare occasion, partying up with my buddy RisenCore, who you should all check out over on his YouTube and Twitch channel, by the way. But outside of those rare times, I've become pretty accustomed to the solo queue life. You know, those teammates that just sit out in the corner of the map while you lead the killer on a long-winded chase. You know, deathly allergic to the generators. Those wonderful people who DC on their first down for no goddamn reason. Now, don't be misled. I enjoy Dead by Daylight very much. I just hate the people who spoil it. And is that so wrong? Now, you'd think with the majority of my time playing this game that I should probably be playing Killer more than Survivor then, right? Well, I used to play Killer a fair bit back in the day, but honestly, I find the role more stressful than I do Survivor. You see, when I play Survivor and my own teammates are a mix of battle-hardened survivors of 10,000 hours and, you know, immersed Claudettes who find the game too scary, I at least know what I'm doing, and I'm always happy to try and rescue my buddies. Having a team, even a poopy one, is nice because in most situations, you kind of feel like you have someone else to fall back on. Or at least suffer beside. But You see, with Killer, I always feel like I either get one extreme or the other. Either a squad of full little baby survivors that I then just want to be nice to because they're still learning the game and they're so goddamn adorable, or a crew of 4 absolute monsters that will spend the next 20 to 30 minutes doing nothing but feeding me pallet sandwiches and melting the eyeballs out of my head. So, when this 2v8 mode dropped, not only was I excited for the absolute madness that was 8 survivors on a map, I was equally, if not more excited, to be able to take up arms against survivors with another killer.
Yay! Get out of here, bitch!
And honestly, I loved this game mode so much. It's like the Earth of Dead by Daylight. Low stakes, goofy games that I honestly had so much fun with on either side. When playing Killer, I'd usually find myself playing my old main, the Huntress, weirdly the least amount of the time. Instead, opting to play as either Wraith or Trapper. Because while these 2 killers are kinda bad in the meta of Dead by Daylight nowadays, in 2v8, you have a buddy who can help shore up your weaknesses. I think Trapper had to be the killer I had the most fun with, scuffling around and setting traps up everywhere at the start of the game, while my teammate had to kinda shoulder my absence for the first couple of gens, only for us to have essentially a minefield for the later half of the game, as we completely cleaned house against the survivors. Killers don't have their normal perks or add-ons available in 2v8, but instead have a couple of unique buffs to their kit. And the trappers are a godsend, being more traps in the map, and the ability for you and your teammate to walk through your traps without triggering them. I kind of feel like after playing Trapper in this state, that these updates, at least the not triggering your own trap one, should probably just be given to the Trapper in the base game. Like, it's not like people are clamoring to play as him now. Now, I know having 2v8 in Dead by Daylight full-time is probably not something the devs are itching to pull the trigger on. A big complaint this game mode raised was just how much queue times were impacted, mostly for killers and for the regular game mode. And I don't think 2v8 is probably something the more serious Dead by Daylight players are looking to engage in full-time, given you don't have access to your usual perks, items, etc. But, speaking purely and selfishly for myself, if this game mode did become a mainstay, I would be playing it pretty much every time I booted up the game, and would probably be playing even more Dead by Daylight as a result. And that's only talking about the killer side of the game mode. In Survivor, you and your 7 teammates have the choice of 4 different classes or roles. Like I mentioned before, you don't have access to your usual loadout of perks. But unlike other goofy game modes like the Giant Oni game mode, you weren't going out there completely perkless, thank God. As a guide, you revealed your aura and the generator's aura you were working on to your whole team, as well as getting a nice boost to gen progress with great skill checks. As a medic, you granted nearby survivors a heal speed boost and could see the aura of injured survivors and, of course, heal people faster. As an escapist, you essentially had a shared sprint burst for you and survivors around you, and ran a little faster when injured. You know, like, made for this. When it was good. Then finally, we had the Scout, who revealed the killer's aura whenever they broke a pallet, wall, kicked a gen, or when you had line of sight on the killer. You also made no sound when you were injured, but like, you know, you were essentially the guy who always had tabs on the killer. There were no kind of class limits to a team, so everyone could just all be escapists or medics if they wanted to, but it was honestly good to have a mix of all of the roles. Personally, while I liked playing the medic role the most, I do think the Escapist was the best. Sharing sprint burst and running faster while injured just meant you were generally going to be surviving longer and therefore getting more done. Behavior has said if this game mode is to return, they'll likely try and improve on these kits, and maybe make perks interchangeable. If there was some way they could allow people to use their own perks, I think players would initially be a lot happier. But I also think, like, some perks would kind of be insane on both sides. Like, imagine Starstruck with 8 survivors and another killer funneling them towards you. Coordinated killers were already a pretty crazy force to be reckoned with. I do wish I could have gotten this video out a little sooner than I did, but I still wanted to talk about this game mode because it seriously was the most fun I've had in Dead by Daylight in years. And in just about every lobby I was in, everybody agreed, killer and survivor, win or lose, that this game mode had been the most fun they had had as well. So, hopefully we'll see it return again sometime, and hopefully when it does return, we'll be able to have even more killers from the roster playable. Because seriously, we can have a game with Wesker and Nemesis as killers, and Leon, Chris, Claire, Ada, Rebecca, Sheva, Carlos, and Jill as survivors. We can be the residents of evil. Hell, you can even sub out either killers for like Blight with the William Birkin skin or Legion with the Hunk skin. It'll be like a multiplayer Resident Evil game that doesn't just die after a few months of being online. Looking at you, RE-verse and Resident Evil Resistance.
No, wait, please come back. I don't hate you. I just can't ever find anyone playing either of you online.
Did you guys get a chance to play Dead by Daylight's 2v8 mode? What were your thoughts? Was it fun? Did you hate it? Do you want to see it return? Let's talk about it down in the comments, and let me know if you enjoyed another video on Dead by Daylight. I've got a bit of a packed list of games I'm currently working through, but I do really enjoy playing Dead by Daylight in my downtime, and wouldn't mind squeezing in a few more videos on it here and there, if y'all would enjoy that. But until next time, take care of yourselves.